Dear friends, Ram Ram. Welcome to the English episode of Neem Karoli Baba stories. Today, we bring you a story of inner turmoil and deep transformation. The journey of a man struggling with life's questions, a successful individual who appeared fulfilled in the eyes of the world, yet carried a deep inner emptiness. It is a story of spiritual seeking, of ego dissolving into surrender at the feet of Neem Karoli Baba. This is the story of Ramdas. Before we take you on Richard Alpert's journey of becoming Ramdas, let us first understand who Ramdas was and what his life looked like before he met Neem Karoli Baba. Ramdas was one of Maharaj-ji's most devoted devotee. Through his love, presence, and spiritual radiance, he drew hundreds of people in America towards Baba and helped transform countless lives. If today Neem Karoli Baba has thousands of devotees in America, much of the credit goes to Ramdas and Krishnadas. We will certainly share Krishnadas's stories another day, but today our focus is solely on Ramdas. Richard Alpert was born on April 6, 1931 in Boston, USA, into a wealthy Jewish family. He completed his undergraduate studies at Tufts University, earned a master's degree from Stanford University, and went on to receive a PhD from Harvard University. At a remarkably young age, he became a tenured professor at Harvard, teaching subjects such as personality, human motivation, and psychological development. He was extremely popular among students and appeared to be living a successful, enviable life. Yet, in his search to understand higher states of human consciousness, he began experimenting with substances like LSD and explored alternative lifestyles. These experiments gave him temporary glimpses of expanded awareness, but he could not remain there. Each experience ended with an even deeper sense of inner emptiness. Eventually, controversies surrounded him, and he was dismissed from his position at Harvard. In 1967, driven by a desperate search for peace and spirituality, he came to India. But even here, he wandered for weeks, lost and disillusioned, feeling completely hopeless, until something happened that he could never have imagined, even in his dreams. The few moments he spent with Baba turned out to be so extraordinary that they transformed his entire life. He later described this encounter in his books Be Here Now and Miracle of Love. Ramdas writes, I was traveling in India with another American. One day we took a Land Rover into the mountains with a fellow traveler who wanted to meet his guru to resolve a visa issue. I was in an extremely bad mood. After prolonged drug use and months of wandering aimlessly, I was utterly exhausted and disillusioned. I had no desire whatsoever to meet any Baba or Guru. But somehow destiny always pulls you exactly where you need to go. We arrived near a temple in the mountains where some simple village people were standing around. My companion asked them where Baba could be found. They pointed toward a small hill nearby. He immediately jumped out of the car and ran uphill. And suddenly, Others ran behind him too, as if meeting this guru would grant them some great treasure. Watching this, my irritation grew. Everyone ignored me and rushed ahead. Yet, for reasons I couldn't explain, I got out of the car too, barefoot, and began running along that rough path, stumbling as I went. All the while, I kept thinking, I don't even want to meet a guru, so why am I running after them? After turning a bend in the path, we entered the temple courtyard. Under a tree sat a man wrapped in a blanket, around 60 or 70 years old. 8 or 9 Indians sat around him. Clouds floated overhead. A lush green valley stretched into the distance, and the mighty Himalayas formed a breathtaking backdrop. I noticed everything, the beauty, the stillness, all of it. My companion ran toward the man and fell flat on the ground in full prostration, crying uncontrollably. Baba kept patting his head affectionately. I stood there, stunned. Inside, I thought, I will never touch this man's feet. Why should I? There is no need for that. Every now and then, Baba glanced at me and smiled gently. That made me even more uncomfortable. Then he said something in Hindi which I didn't understand. Someone nearby translated, Do you have a photograph of Maharaj-ji? My companion nodded, Yes. Pointing toward me, Baba said, Give him one. I thought sarcastically, Wow, he wants to give me his own photo. I smiled back, still thinking, I may smile, but I am still not touching his feet. Then Baba smiled and asked, You came in a big car, didn't you? Yes, I replied. With a playful smile, he said, Will you give me that big car? I was about to swear out loud when my companion, still lying flat on the ground, lifted his head and said, If you want the car, Baba, please keep it. Everything is yours. I immediately protested. No, wait a minute. You can't just give away David's car like that. At this, Baba burst into loud laughter. And everyone else laughed too. Everyone, except me. Then Baba looked at me and asked, You have earned a lot of money in America, haven't you? Calculating my years as a professor and other work, I answered with pride, Yes. How much? He asked. Wanting to sound even more impressive, I exaggerated and said, $25,000. The people around converted it into Indian rupees and were visibly amazed. The truth was, I was lying. I had never earned that much. Baba laughed again and said, So will you buy me a car like yours? Inside my mind, thoughts raced. I came from a Jewish background where fundraising was common. But I had never seen this level of boldness. This man didn't even know my name. And he was asking for a $7,000 car. I replied hesitantly, I don't know, maybe. By now, I was completely overwhelmed. Then Baba said, Take them inside and feed them. Then we were served a wonderful meal and then told to rest. Later we returned to Baba. He motioned to me and said, Come here, sit. I sat in front of him. He looked at me and said, Last night you went outside under the star filled sky, didn't you? Surprised, I muttered, yes. Then he said, you were remembering your mother. I froze. The night before, I had stepped outside to use the bathroom. The sky was blazing with stars, and I felt incredibly close to the universe. In that moment, I felt my mother's presence around me. She had passed away a year earlier due to a spleen condition. I had told no one about this. Baba continued. She passed away last year, didn't she? I nodded silently, staring at him in disbelief. Then he said, before she died, her stomach had swollen. Yes, I whispered. He leaned back, closed his eyes, and said in English, spleen. She died of spleen. What happened to me in that moment is impossible to put into words. My mind was racing. How does he know all this? Who is this man? What power does he possess? What button has he pressed that suddenly opened my entire life file in front of him? Why had I come here? What force had brought me to him? I had no answers. Everything was beyond my intellect and understanding. My companion had no idea what Baba was saying to me. My mind felt like a computer overloaded with impossible data. Alarms ringing, red lights flashing, until it finally crashed. And in that instant, I felt intense pain and tightness in my chest. I began to cry uncontrollably. Not out of happiness, not out of sorrow, but something beyond both. One thing, however, I can say with absolute certainty. My inner search had ended. A long journey was over. I had come home. Dear friends, this was Ramdas' first meeting with Neem Karoli Baba. He later shared many such experiences in his book Miracle of Love. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please share them in the comments. May Neem Karoli Baba's grace and blessings always remain upon you, upon us, and upon all. We will soon return with another miraculous story of one of Baba's devotees. Until then, Jai Baba Neem Karoli, Jai Shri Ram.